Today's the Monday podcast where I just look at social media takes I've seen, and then I just give my opinions and react to them. So let's jump right into it. The first one I saw was somebody talking about Connor Stallions, and apparently Connor Stallions was found disguised on the sidelines at a Central Michigan game as a staff member against Michigan State before they played Michigan State, and that was per Dan Murphy on ESPN. And, I've seen a lot of people that have been saying that their championship should be taken away. And, I think they were, it's quite obvious that they were literally just cheating. It's kind of blatantly obvious, actually. And, Michigan fans will like to say, oh, well, every team does it. No, they don't, actually. Not every team actually sends a staff member and disguises him as a staff on another team that they're playing against, that they're going to play in a few weeks, and get information on them, get plays and stuff like that, and that's just unheard of, and I don't think it's ever been done, actually. So first of all, that's not something that everybody does, Michigan fans, if you're watching this. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. And then, I think something needs to happen, whether, maybe they don't take away the championship, but something they need to be penalized for their actions. I don't know how they should do it, but either way, something should happen to them because it was quite obvious they cheated. And how they solve it, I don't know, but they need to solve it. And I think they should be punished somewhat harshly because they cheated like nobody has cheated before, first of all, and then second of all, there's been countless times where teams have been punished for something that they've done that is like way more minimal than this, and I'm talking way more minimal. Like a while ago, Ohio State players got Jim Tressel fired because a few Ohio State players were selling their golden pants that they won for a couple $100 after beating Michigan, and that took them away from being able to compete for a championship, and it eventually got Jim Tressel fired. So I would say that's way more minimal than what Michigan's been doing, quite literally taking plays from other teams and then using those plays to help them on defense, and barely anything's happened. So, the NCAA needs to do something because it's kind of annoying that they haven't done anything yet, and something needs to happen, okay? Like I said, I don't know what it is, but something needs to happen. Anyways, the second take I saw was saying that primetime college football, 7:30 p.m. College football on a Saturday night is better than anything else, any sport related, any primetime. And I would have to agree, 100% agree. It's not even close to me. The atmosphere at college football games, is just insane. I think people in college football have more pride for their teams than NFL, because in a lot of scenarios, at least, it might change this year, but still, for most teams, you have to go undefeated to win and have a chance at a national championship. So that makes games against teams that are kind of bad, like, Akron or any team, really. I'm just thinking about Ohio State in this case, but any team, the game is still important. It still has importance because they can't lose. But, if let's say, Bengals were to lose to the Panthers, it's like they still can make the playoffs. It's not like their whole season's over. So I think the fans get into the game more. And when it's in primetime and stuff, when you're at Penn State, Ohio State, Florida State, all those teams, man, any Big Ten or SEC team, man, the stadiums get crazy. And there's just so many atmospheres that can be in primetime that make it so good. And I think it's just 100% better compared to something like, NFL or NBA even. So, yeah, that's what I think. And then the third thing I saw was just a graph. It was like a ranking chart, and it was talking about which teams are the most hated and least hated. And I'm just going to go through. It's probably going to be right about there. But that's going to be when I edit it after, so I don't know. So you guys can look at it also and see if you agree. So I'm going to start at the row and then just go up. So, I don't think if you hate Kansas, Arizona, Vanderbilt, Rutgers, or Stanford, you're kind of crazy unless you're a Kansas State fan or, Arizona State. But, I think, honestly, the reason people like them is just they've been so bad that, nobody even has any hatred for them because if you play them, it's just a free win. And like, why would you like be mean to somebody who is so bad? You know, it's just like that's why I think they're liked, unless you're a rival. But and then for neutral, honestly, I agree. I mean, the thing is like all these teams they have rivals, so there's always gonna be one team that probably hates them. But overall, yeah, like I don't think many people hate Duke unless you're a North Carolina fan. Same thing with North Carolina. Oklahoma State, same thing. Like, Oklahoma State's just always been chilling there. They're always pretty decent, unless you're an Oklahoma fan, you hate them, but, like, they kind of just do their own thing, and they're sometimes good, sometimes not so good, so I completely agree with that, actually. Maryland, same thing. Like, they've always been kind of mid or whatever, but nobody really hates them. Same thing with, like, Minnesota, like, unless you're Wisconsin or something, but... Yeah, so I pretty much agree with every single team in neutral. And then slightly hated, yeah, NC State, I don't know, they could be put in neutral, honestly, but, I mean, North Carolina hates them. I'm sure Duke doesn't like them, so, yeah. Texas Tech, yeah, they've been pretty good, so I think that equates to a little bit more hate. And I think you'll notice that as the hatred levels go up, is that the teams that are better have more hate towards them typically. Kentucky, yeah. I mean, Kentucky's kind of... They have Louisville as their rival, so I don't really know why they're slightly hated. I would probably move them down to neutral as well. TCU, yeah, they can stay there just because I feel like Texas teams, there's so many teams that they can technically be like rivals with. So, yeah, they can stay there. Cincinnati, yeah, I mean... The thing is, though, with Cincinnati is that their main rival is, like, Xavier, but Xavier doesn't have a football team, so I would probably put them down to neutral, just because, I mean, they had that one season in 2021, I believe, where they made the playoffs, but that probably made a bunch of people upset, but other than that, they're kind of just chilling, in my opinion, so I don't really know. And then, yeah, I agree with SMU and Mississippi State, just because... like the Egg Bowl and stuff, so. And then hated, I don't really think Arkansas is hated. I think people don't like them. But, I mean, Arkansas kind of sucks, to be honest. Like, right now, they've kind of sucked. I mean, KJ Jefferson is amazing, but they kind of are trash. Pitt is definitely hated. Same thing with, like, West Virginia-Pitt rivalry. Yeah, they hate each other so much that I think they just make each other go into the hated section. And then, yeah, I would agree with most of those other teams. Ole Miss is, yeah, hated for sure, I would say. BYU, man, I don't know, man. BYU, nobody really gives a crap about BYU. I want to say they're very hated, in my opinion. So I'd probably put them somewhere lower. And then very hated, yeah, I mean, Colorado, man. Colorado, just based off last season, can go to despised. I don't care. I freaking hate Colorado, bro. All they do is just talk. They got hyped up so much. They were talking. They still do. They still get hyped up. They still talk crap. And then they'll probably just end up going 4 or 5 wins. And it's just so annoying to see, man. It's just nobody likes Colorado, bro. And then USC, I would say, yeah, USC. Yeah, so, like, most of these teams are the teams that have been pretty good recently. And people just hate them because they're good and they typically beat a lot of teams that people like. So, yeah, I agree with pretty much every one of those, yeah. I mean, Nebraska, I wouldn't say is very hated. Yeah, you can move Nebraska down to maybe slightly hated, I think. But other than that, yeah, I think it's very accurate. And then despised, yeah, like the same thing like with West Virginia and Pitt. Like Michigan, Ohio State, they both make each other in despised. I don't care. Like both sides hate each other so much. So, and especially Ohio State and Michigan. Like, I mean, Michigan just came off a national championship. Like, who knows? It might get revoked, but people just hate them for that. And then Ohio State, like, the fans are so obnoxious that I think people hate them, and then also they win a pretty good amount, so I think people don't like them for that as well. Texas, yeah. Honestly, yeah, Oklahoma could probably go into despise, but I don't think their rivalry is quite as good as Michigan, Ohio State to make it like that. Same thing with Alabama, Auburn. So, yeah, I agree with that. I think Texas is despised by a lot of people, though. Like I said, they're Texas has so many teams in Texas. So a lot of teams just don't like Texas because they kind of run the state in a way. And I don't think all the smaller Texas schools like that. So I think that's a very good spot, actually. Yeah, Notre Dame, I think a lot of people, at least me, I just don't like Notre Dame because they just refuse to go into a conference, first of all, which is, like, really annoying. They should totally be in, like, the ACC or even Big Ten, maybe. They need to be in a conference because it's just annoying how they don't get to play a championship game. So if they go undefeated in regular season, there's a good chance, like, they would be in the top 4 teams and then make the playoffs. But they don't have to play that final game. But if you go undefeated and then you lose the championship game, you're probably going to not be in the playoffs. So it gets annoying. And let's just be real, nobody likes Notre Dame, really, unless you're a Notre Dame fan. And then Alabama, 100% agree. I mean, Alabama for the longest time has been despised just because of how dominant they've been. So overall, I think this is actually a really great list. I mean, like I said, I would move a few teams up and down, but overall, I think this is a great list. And that will conclude my Reaction Monday podcast. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.